Hello, everybody. I am so glad to be back in the group, going live. As you all know, it's been pretty busy over here at the Lynn Group, a lot of traveling, but our community of leading in healthcare is growing. So for those of you that are new to our community, what usually happens on Fridays is that I just come in here and share a few nuggets and tidbits to help you to be a better leader. You all know that on Mondays, I do the mindset mastery, which is more about the psychology and the inner mindset needed to be the person that you want to be so that you experience a higher quality of life, not only in your professional life, but also in your personal life. But then here in the group, this was a group that was specifically created to give you the tools and the leadership development piece of the puzzle that's going to help give you the practical information that you can use, which is going to be the tasks that you can do better as a leader. I think that most often when we are feeling stressed out and feeling the pressures and the demands of our jobs as healthcare leaders, we feel like, well, if we just knew how to do things better or harder or differently, then it wouldn't be so bad. It wouldn't be so stressful. It'd be easier. But in fact, the thing that healthcare particularly is missing is that you actually have to become a different person in order for the tactics, the strategies, all those things to work. Oh, it's like a weird angle, whatever. So I am passionate about high performance, personal mastery, and incorporating those into your internal psyche so that you can become the person that you need to become in order to make the impact that you want to make. And I want you to think of this as a metaphor where you and I can attend the same class and be given the same information, and we can implement it step by step to what we know to be the exact way to implement it. However, you and I are going to get different results. And why is that? And when you start to ask yourself the question about why is it that we can have all the same external resources available to us, but still not get the same results, then you're going to understand much, much more why the things that I'm teaching you in the leading in healthcare community is something that I'm passionate about. Oh, the air conditioner just is coming on. Because I think that the things that are really going to make a difference are for you to understand how to answer that question. And healthcare in particular does not answer that question very well. We talk about the science of patient care and delivery and outcomes, but the part that we do not get right in healthcare leadership is actually teaching from the inside out the tools that we need to actually be better leaders. And so if you're struggling, if you aren't getting the results that you want, again, professionally and personally, then this is why this community has been created for you. Specifically today, what I want to speak with you all about and what I have some notes about is resilience and how resilience can elevate your leadership. And as I'm reaching out to leaders about the new mental mastery resilience program that's coming up in a few weeks, it seems like everybody thinks that they know what resilience is. However, if you are in a room with a group of leaders, then about 50 to 60% of you are experiencing stress, chronic stress, burnout, and are on a fast train to detrimental impacts to your mind, body, and soul. So what that is telling me is that I don't think not you, but us, we understand what resilience truly means, because if we did, we wouldn't be getting worse to the point where we're impacting ourselves so negatively where we are experiencing negative consequences or have to leave a career that we've worked so hard for. And the answers are not external, because if you haven't noticed, a lot of the stressors that we're dealing with today are the same stressors that we're going to be dealing with for a very point that out. So resilience is not this buzzword that everybody thinks it is. And if you can understand what resilience means, which is the ability to bounce back from certain setbacks and certain challenges that you experience in your life, that's a surface level understanding. However, what I'm trying to teach you is that it's not just about knowing what it is. You have to know what it is and put it into practice and actually embody it for you to have a deep understanding of what it is. And resilience is deeply rooted in science because our brains have this miraculous ability to change and to mold and to form into however we want it to form. And so by doing that, we can learn things and start to embody traits and habits and skills and mechanisms that will allow us to actually bounce back, adapt, and cope with challenges. The tricky thing about doing the work that I teach you here, number two, is that you may think that everything is okay. You may not notice that something is off. You may think that you are bouncing back because a lot of the things that you experience when you are headed to this insidious train to the negative consequences is it's not this big thing where you feel tired, where you feel burned out, where you feel like you can't get out of bed. When you get there, it's too late. It's the little things like feeling disengaged, feeling dispassionate about either your work life, or it could be a lack of interest in your personal life, the irritability, the not taking care of yourself and knowing that you should do better, but not having that energy or that ability or wherewithal to put the one foot in front of the other to start the momentum train toward taking care of yourself. All of this is rooted in your ability to be resilient toward the things that you have to deal with, not only in your workspace, which could be causing you increased demand and pressure, but it's also in your personal life as well. So as we talk about resilience being not just another buzzword, it's something that actually is something that you need to learn how to understand and become and embody from the inside out as a trait that you actually have, not something that you understand. You actually have to be it. You do it, right? You can understand it all day. So once you start to understand what resilience truly is, then you can start to bounce back. And I'm going to leave you with one specific practice in this and the other things that I'm going to share with you in this live stream today to get you started in the right direction, and specifically what you could do to start to be more resilient. And it's going to sound cheesy and it's going to sound hokey, but this is evidence-based research. You can go, you could dive deep into it, and you're going to find that one of the most impactful and effective things to help you to bounce back from a challenge and to be more resilient when you are facing stressors in your life is to start a gratitude journal. It's super simple. Every day, what I do, and if you guys want me to show you, I was going to do a Mindset Monday about kind of the rituals that I go through on a daily basis in order to be who I am today. But one of the things that I do is I do a gratitude practice. The gratitude practice probably takes less than 1 minute. But for you, it'd probably be better to just start it in a journal. And when you are starting this journal each day, all you have to do is write down 3 things that you are grateful for. And what it does is it not only trains your brain to focus on positivity and boost your ability to bounce back from stress and adversity. Secondarily and more deeply, what a gratitude journal does is it elevates the frequency at which you vibrate. And if you're not familiar with the terms that I'm using, then what it does is it elevates your emotions, it elevates your mental health, and it elevates your physical health to a level that if you approach before you do your journaling exercise, if you're like right here with how you are showing up in life, it will elevate you to a higher level. This is important because this has been scientifically measured that people that have specific things going on in their life, whether they be more subtle things like not eating right, not sleeping, a negative attitude, which most of us call realistic attitude, but it's usually when you get to the heart of things, they're vibrating more negatively. They have had their energy measured, the energy that they emit, because we are electrical beings creating electrical impulses to keep all of this going. And so depending on where your electrical impulses lie on the whole, you can put yourself at risk for these certain mental illnesses, physical illnesses, emotional illnesses, and they have been able to tie certain electrical frequencies with certain areas where you start to flip the switch from being healthy, being resilient, being able to show up as your best, and being able to bounce back to being someone that is ripe, creating a ripe environment for all things to go wrong. So just try it if you don't believe me. It's very powerful. And I know sometimes if things seem really, really dark, that there's not always a lot to be grateful for. And so some of the things that I end up being grateful for are very simple. Like here, I have one on my list right here. My husband, my plants, I had a slow afternoon and I was grateful for that slow afternoon. Let's see. I'm just trying to think of some other things. They're just not always these big, audacious things. Sometimes I do have to look for the smallest, minute thing. A good breakfast that I ate. The donut from the bakery up the street that always hits every time I go get one. So sometimes we continue to approach the problems we have in the same mental space, the same attitude, the same awareness that we've always done it, and we wonder why it won't get better, knowing that that's the definition of insanity. So if you have not tried this on a consistent basis, I would invite you to adopt it, because even if you think that it's not working on the physiological level that I explained with the electrical impulses, it is changing your ability to be able to be more resilient toward the physical, mental, and emotional stuff. So that's number one. The number two thing I want to speak with you about is embracing a growth mindset. And again, particularly that's what I'm talking about on the Mindset Mondays that I put out in all the platforms. So pick your favorite one, even the podcast form. And growth mindset was a term that I don't know if she created or coined it, but it became popular when that book, I think it was called Growth Mindset by Carol Dweck. And it kind of transformed the way that we look at people that are successful versus people that are more stagnant or that are not as successful. And it evolves around the belief that our abilities and our intelligence can be developed through dedication, work, and effort and willingness. You may think that you have a growth mindset, but research would have you to would say otherwise. For instance, it's a well-known statistic that most of us think the same thoughts today that we thought yesterday and the day before. A lot of that is because of the the wiring that we have in our neurological systems. But a lot of what we think and what we do doesn't change on a day-to-day basis. So therefore, we're not encouraged from a mental standpoint to challenge ourselves to think in a growth mindset. Just by the very nature of us statistically doing and thinking the same thing, and most of those thoughts not being conducive to growth, we are inherently more oriented toward having a fixed mindset. Growth mindset actually takes purposeful effort daily in order for you to incorporate it into your life. So you may think that you have it, but you don't. And specifically, if you're someone that thinks you need to do more and you need to try harder and this works, so let's try it again, all of that kind of stuff, you definitely don't have a growth mindset. If you don't look outside of what is in your current level of awareness, whether it be in your professional life or in your personal life, then you definitely don't have a growth mindset. And this is shocking for a lot of people to hear. And a lot of times when I'm saying this in my speeches, when I'm saying this in my teachings, I don't think a lot of people even get the tremendous impact that this fact means on healthcare, on outcomes, on your well-being, that if we are not purposefully integrating growth mindset principles into our lives on a daily basis, then we're stagnant. So that means most of us are stagnant. A growth mindset, one of the benefits of it is that it empowers you to view setbacks as opportunities for growth. Or if any of you attended the live where I talked about, what was it that I talked about? Imposter syndrome and self-doubt and those type of things. It also helps you look at some of the things that have happened in your life or that you may be currently going through that don't feel as good as you'd like them to feel, as not you judging yourself, because we do a lot of judging on the things that we are thinking about and the things that we're observing. We put labels on it, we judge it, when in fact, if you adopt a more growth-oriented mindset, what you're going to find is that you tend to look at things and want to learn from them. You look at things as a more neutral observer in your life and to learn. And that from that learning, you then grow because your level of awareness opens up to different information, different possibilities. So a tip that you can use to start to integrate this into your daily life is to adopt a yet mindset. So whenever you're faced with a challenge or a setback, you can remind yourself that maybe you may not be perfect at it right now. You may not know what to do right now, but that doesn't mean that you won't figure it out. So I'm not where I am yet. I don't know what I want to know yet. I'm not the ideal version of where I think I should be in this particular area yet. This situation in my life is not where it needs to be yet. By putting the yet on it, it shifts the tone of just saying, I'm not there yet. It's not working out. I'm not where I want to be. Do you see how powerful that yet is? It gives you the space and the empowerment to be more curious. Okay, I'm not there yet, but how can I get there? What can I try? How can I bounce back? How can I try something and see if it's going to work? So that is my practical tip for you when it comes to growth mindset. Third thing that I want to share with you is emotional intelligence. Again, this is another area where we think we're performing better than we are. And I'm telling you, when I'm brought into these different organizations all over the world, it is usually a shocker, especially when I have to come in and help a leader that has been not performing up to the level that they usually perform at, and they're in jeopardy of their career. And we get deep into the layers. Anyway, they're shocked. They think that they're doing just fine. They don't know why I'm here. When they're starting to have teams that are falling apart or people that don't want to listen, they think it's all of these things outside of themselves and not acknowledging the power that they have as a leader and the lack of emotional intelligence that they have and don't want to develop in order to be able to make the impact they want to make on their team. Being an emotional intelligent leader is a critical trait for effective leadership. And again, it involves this self-awareness, this empathy, and this ability to manage your emotions. Managing emotions is big. I could do a whole another live stream on managing emotions, but the lack of self-awareness and emotional intelligence specifically is something that I think gets a lot of leaders in trouble. Think about what I said with the growth mindset. And if you haven't watched the live stream that I did on the science of decision making, listen to that too, because you could think that you're on point because the wiring in your brain, your prefrontal cortex, can erode or perform non-optimally and you won't even know it. So this is the crazy thing about the work that we do as leaders, is that we can think that we're doing a good job because we really are doing a good job when it comes to our level of competence, awareness, neural wiring, all of those things. But in all actuality, we're not. So emotional intelligence involves active listening as a valuable strategy to enhance your emotional intelligence. And so what you can do here, especially as a leader, especially if you're not a mature leader that really, I use servant leadership, but a lot of you think that when you think you're practicing servant leadership, you're really being a doormat. But true servant leadership would come into play here, where you are willing to always put the needs of, not always, where you're willing to put the greater good of the team above your own. And so you understand more about making a conscious effort to truly listen to other people and their perspectives and the emotions and the energy that lie behind what they verbalize, because you're going to get more information from the little subtle clues than you get from what people say to you. So this is important. And it's about engaging in empathetic conversations, validating experiences, because if I hold up this piece of paper, right, I'm looking at it from this way. And so I'm going to describe it totally different because my side has wording and everything. You're looking at it from this way. So the only awareness that you have of the situation is where you can see it from this side, which is totally different. So it doesn't mean that neither one of us is wrong, or it doesn't really mean either one of us is right. It just means that we have these different perspectives, and your job as a leader is to rise above those that you lead and understand how powerful this can be, not only in your professional life, but also in your personal life. So make sure that you learn how to engage in empathetic conversations and acknowledge and validate people's experiences, because it will help you to strengthen the relationships that you have in your personal and professional life, and it will enhance your ability to navigate high pressure environments much, much better, especially if you just remember this little metaphor with this piece of paper. Mindfulness is the next thing that I want to speak with you about. I did the last live stream here in our group immediately before this one on mindfulness, just because I was sharing just impromptu live where I was speaking about how I'm really hitting my mindfulness practice very hard, because the only power that you have right now that's going to make a difference is the power of now, and how you can start to cultivate and harness the power of the only real moment to make positive changes in your life first and foremost. So I'm not going to talk too much about that. Go back and watch that live stream if you want more information about mindfulness, but it just offers you this ability to find this stillness and this peace and this sanctuary in the moments of chaos. And when you learn to incorporate a mindfulness practice into your day, it can be super easy. If you say you don't have time to do it, you're lying. That's how simple being mindful can be. And it's just a few minutes every day. And for me, I recommend my clients do it multiple times a day until it becomes a habit to be more mindful. And you're going to see that you get more clarity, more calm. And again, that clarity and calm helps you to show up as your best version of yourself, helps you to bounce back from challenges, helps you to get solutions and answers that you wouldn't otherwise have in your awareness, because you're approaching life and the situations and circumstances that you interact with from a perspective that you normally don't usually try. You're more open and receptive to information, both blatant information, both direct and indirect information to what's going on in the world around you. And then the last thing that I wanted to share with you today was the role of purpose and meaning, because again, in society, in our conditioning, in healthcare specifically, this is what is our purpose and our meaning in life. And your purpose and your meaning has nothing to do with your job. It has nothing to do with the roles that you fulfill, such as mother, such as wife, such as husband, such as son, such as daughter. Your purpose and your meaning in your life goes back to that internal thing that I talk about, your soul, and who it is that you truly are, what you believe and what you value. And we haven't been taught that that is who we truly are. And so we chase a lot of things thinking that we are pouring into a purpose and meaning in our life, but find that we often come up empty, because that is not purpose and meaning in life. Those are just roles that you fulfill. So I want you to go a little bit deeper with this and start to reflect on what is your true purpose and what is your true meaning in this life. Because when you're giving your all to your work, when you're giving your all to your personal life and not spending that time connecting to who you are as a person on a regular basis, then you start to feel lost. And you won't even know that you're lost, because like I said, you're doing what everybody else is doing. So we all think that this is normal to feel this way, to be this disconnected from who we are as a soul, and to get wrapped up in all the things that we do on the day-to-day, and it's not. So I want you to take some time, some regular time, to reflect on why you have chosen the path that you've chosen, not just in your personal life or professional life, but also in your personal life. and healthcare leadership and the impact that you want to make in all areas of your life. And I want you to see if is there a gap from where you desire to be when you look at yourself as a soul and not just the things that you do and the obligations that you have to fulfill? Or are you close? And that's going to help you to understand why you may be at risk for this stress and this burnout, basically killing you eventually, because it's that serious the way that we're going as leaders in healthcare. Some other things that you can do once you do this exercise of not daily, it doesn't have to be daily, but it should be regular self-reflection, is then to write a personal mission statement that encapsulates what it is that you discover about yourself and about your purpose and about the meaning and the impact that you want to leave in the different areas of your life. And whenever you feel like you're losing sight of something or something is getting stressful and challenging, this is the precise time where you should use those feelings as a trigger to come back to center, to come back to yourself, to come back to your purpose, to come back to the bigger meaning of things. I teach my clients to do regular centering activities, and anytime something feels off, that's a trigger for you to center, because from that space you have the most power. So this action will help you with the alignment between what it is that you're doing, how it is that you're showing up, and how that aligns with your core values. And it'll help you to find the motivation and the passion and the resilience and the commitment that you need to actually make a meaningful impact in the thing that matters, not the thing that we're taught that matters. So this is what I wanted to share with you specifically within this wonderful group that is growing every day about the power of resilience. And so I want to make sure that you spread the word about this group. I already know there is not anything like this. And when I've tried to get the word out on big healthcare podcasts, I was told very blatantly that their podcast exists for the providers that are on their podcast to pay them money to be showcased. So the information that you are receiving on what you think to be large healthcare platforms are really these marketing schemes for leaders in healthcare to pay these podcasts, these magazines, these conferences, and in return, they get to showcase their knowledge. So you have people like me, people that might be doing other work in healthcare that are not willing to sacrifice paying to be on a platform that is inherently inauthentic. Therefore, the message is not getting out. And this is information that we need to hear if 50 to 60% of us are dropping like flies from all the pressure and the demands and not getting the respect and the recognition that we deserve for the work that we do as leaders in healthcare. So just to recap, gratitude journal, growth mindset, emotional intelligence and active listening, incorporating mindfulness breaks, and reconnecting with your purpose, your mission statement regularly are the things that I've shared with you to practically put into action the things that I'm teaching you. And if you don't put them into action, it means that you're not embodying the principles that you understand them on an intellectual level, but you are not them. And until you become them, things are not going to get any easier for you. Now, if you want to have help in a more structured setting, going from where you are now to learning these things on a guided basis and having the supportive environment that you need and being around leaders all over the world, the United States primarily, but sometimes we get people from across the pond. So, you want to be in a community with leaders that are in healthcare so they understand the demands that are put upon us. And we're all in a community trying to dive deeper into these principles and topics that are going to make us more resilient. I'm going to give you personalized strategies. You're going to have opportunities for coaching. I'm going to guide you through 6 weeks of lessons and practical, just all the things. It's just a comprehensive mental mastery program that's starting up in a couple weeks. And for right now, it's still on early bird early bird special. So it's still $200 off, and there's still some slots available for the first few people to get a free 30-minute private coaching session. So if you want to dive deeper and understand what it truly means to dive into work like this, that's going to actually change and transform your life, and not just be this surface level buzzword type stuff we tend to recycle, even though stuff is getting worse, then I invite you to check out the information to sign up for the Mental Mastery Resilience Program. And I am going to give you I think I could type it in chat, but I'll also give you the web address. So you can just go to bit.ly. So that's bit.ly/mental mastery program, all one word. So bit.ly/mental mastery program to learn more about the program, and then to reserve your slot before the price goes up in, I think it's 4 or 5 days. The price is going to go up. Right now it's $200 off. And if you actually look at the investment for you to be able to learn what you need to learn and have the support you need to actually embody it and make a lasting change in your life, and actually learn what it means to live a higher quality life from the perspective that I teach here, then you're going to laugh, because it's not that much money. And for those of you that are smart about it, your company can reimburse you for a training like this. All right. Have a good weekend. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.